A storm split the sky as Jack Sparrow held a rusted hourglass. Waves rolled backward, ships frozen mid-sink, lightning pausing mid-flash. Somewhere in the chaos, time itself had fractured. Legend spoke of the tide of time, a current that could rewrite fate. Jack, of course, wanted to bottle it, sell it, or drink it, but he wasn't the only one. A masked figure in a clockwork ship hunted him through timelines. And Jack, naturally, had already stolen something he shouldn't have. Dead Man's Port buzzed with noise, rum, and bad decisions, Jack Sparrow's kind of place. He swaggered through the crowded dockside bazaar, stepping around drunken sailors and snake oil sorcerers hawking bottled storms. His compass twitched in his palm, pointing nowhere and everywhere, while he hummed an off-key shanty about fate and forgetting. He wasn't looking for trouble, which usually meant it was about to find him. And it did. At a shadowy table under a torn sailcloth canopy, an old woman with one eye and 3 teeth challenged him to a dice game. No gold involved, no names given, just stakes. Wager what you fear most, she whispered. Jack offered a smirk and tossed in my sense of responsibility. He won naturally, and she slid the prize across the table, a small, rusted hourglass. It glowed faintly, with blue sand inside that didn't fall, it flowed up. Jack frowned. It's broken. No, she hissed. It's yours now. As he pocketed the strange thing, the air shifted. Wind reversed. A nearby ship's sails unfurled backward. A man shouted something, then repeated it, identical in tone and motion. Time hiccuped. By the time Jack turned back, the woman was gone. Back aboard the Black Pearl, Jack examined the hourglass. It pulsed in his hand like a heartbeat, growing warmer the longer he held it. The crew gathered round, skeptical as ever. Looks cursed, said Gibbs, squinting at it. Absolutely, Jack replied, delighted. As the sun rose, they set sail, only for the sea to glitch beneath them. Waves looped. Seagulls flew in reverse. A ship on the horizon vanished, then reappeared mid-sink, frozen in time. And overhead, the clouds formed a perfect spiral, spinning slowly, impossibly still. Then came a sound, a low ticking, like 1,000 clocks buried under the sea. Suddenly, the compass began spinning violently, and Jack laughed. Oh, we've definitely broken something. And from the mist behind them, a silhouette emerged, a towering mechanical ship powered by gears, steam, and lightning. Its black flags bore a silver hourglass. Jack's smile faded just slightly. Well, he muttered, looks like time's got a bone to pick. The Black Pearl cut across the glittering sea, sunlight gleaming off her dark hull, but no wind filled her sails. The ship moved against the current, as if something unseen dragged her forward. The crew whispered uneasy, and even the ocean seemed to hold its breath. Jack Sparrow leaned on the helm, squinting into the distance. Behind them, through the shimmer of heat and haze, the impossible ship followed, a monstrous vessel of bronze and black iron. Gears turned where cannons should have been. Pistons hissed in rhythm, and a massive clock face spun slowly across its bow. The Oblivion! She's gaining on us, Captain, Gibbs called out, clutching his hat as the wind shifted in circles. Gaining? Jack grinned. Excellent. Saves me the trouble of turning around. The deck groaned as time twisted again. Ropes aged to dust and then rewound. Sails tore and mended themselves in seconds. The sky flickered between dawn and dusk in one heartbeat. The Pearl was trapped in a storm of time itself. A deep horn bellowed from the Oblivion, and a figure appeared on its deck, tall, masked, and clad in polished armor etched with spinning runes. His coat shimmered like oil and shadow. He raised a sword that glowed like molten steel and pointed straight at Jack. Who in the blazes is that? Marty gasped. Jack tilted his head. A fan, obviously. Happens all the time. The figure's voice carried over the wind, deep, echoing, distorted like it came from centuries away. "Return the hourglass, thief of time." Jack twirled the relic in his hand. "Oh, this old thing? Sentimental value." Suddenly the Oblivion's cannons fired. But instead of fire and shot, bursts of shimmering sand exploded outward. Where the grains landed, reality warped, sails froze mid-flutter, water turned glassy and still. The shots weren't meant to sink them, they were meant to stop them. Jack barked orders: "Reverse the sails, turn the sea backward if you must." The Pearl lurched sideways, tearing through the frozen waves. Behind them, the Oblivion vanished, then reappeared directly ahead, as if it had jumped through seconds. Jack blinked, impressed. "Ah, so that's how it's going to be." He drew his sword, grin returning. "Gentlemen, let's go break time." The ocean had gone unnaturally still. Not calm, still. The kind of silence that made waves forget how to crash. The Black Pearl floated above a patch of sea that shimmered like a mirror. No breeze, no birds, only the faint ticking beneath the water, like an unseen clock counting down. Jack Sparrow stood at the rail, holding the hourglass. Its blue sand now flowed upward faster, pulsing like a heartbeat. The compass spun again, then pointed straight down. "Down?" Gibbs asked, horrified. "You want us to sail under the sea?" Jack gave a toothy grin. "Don't be daft, Mr. Gibbs. We'll dive." Moments later, in a battered submersible stolen from a particularly confused inventor in Port Cauldron, Jack Gibbs and a soaked, grumbling skeleton named Pickwick descended into the deep. As they passed through the currents, the sea grew brighter, not darker. Sunlight filtered impossibly far, illuminating ruins below, the Temple of the Tide. It was ancient and massive, carved from black stone and coral, shaped like a spiral whirlpool frozen in stone. Strange glyphs glowed faintly along its arches, and golden fish swam backward in time-loop schools. Doors opened not by touch, but by thought. The temple knew they were coming. Inside, time bet. Corridors led to places they had already passed. Statues changed expressions when unobserved. Jack passed one hall filled with memories that weren't his, moments he had never lived but might have. A wedding in Tortuga, a duel he never fought, a ship he never saved. In a central chamber, Jack stood before a glowing tidal, still water. Yet inside it swirled infinite versions of himself. Young, old, dead, crowned, cursed. Every possible Jack, circling in silent judgment. "This is it," Jack whispered. "The heart of the tide." Suddenly, the water surged upward into a shape. A translucent woman formed from water and time itself. She stared at him. "You seek to rewrite what must unfold." "I seek," Jack replied, stepping forward, "to understand what I've already ruined." Her hand touched the hourglass. The sand stopped, and from the temple's arch, boots echoed. The chrono corsair had found him. His sword hummed as he raised it. Jack turned, rolling his shoulders. About time. The chamber rippled as the chrono corsair stepped forward, sword drawn, gears whirring across his armor. Each movement grinding like a ticking clock wound too tight. His mask was cracked down the middle, revealing one eye that glowed gold, the other dark as a void. Captain Jack Sparrow gave a lopsided smile. "You know, I usually prefer introductions before death threats. A name, perhaps?" The corsair's voice echoed, distorted by ages. "You gave me mine when you betrayed me. A betrayal you've yet to commit." Jack blinked. "Oh, future me sounds like a right bastard." With no further warning, the corsair lunged. Steel rang against steel, sparks flying across ancient stone as their swords clashed. But this was no ordinary duel. Each strike distorted the world. One moment they fought in the sunlit ruins of the temple. The next, they were aboard the Black Pearl in a future storm, sails torn, lightning frozen mid-flash. Another clash, and they were in the past, a burning port, cannon smoke hanging in the air, time flowing sideways. Jack laughed mid-parry. This is either a nightmare or a very expensive illusion. This is the cost of meddling, the Corsair growled, driving Jack against a broken pillar now overgrown with vines. Or was it made of glass? Each blow pushed Jack through a new version of reality. In one, he was wounded and old. In another, crowned king of nothing but bones. He began to understand this wasn't just a fight. The Corsair was trying to force him into a timeline where he'd already lost. But Jack Sparrow didn't play by time's rules. As the Corsair lunged again, Jack twisted and hurled the stopped hourglass into the swirling Titapool. The blue sand exploded into light, time snapping back violently. The chamber cracked and reformed, anchoring them in a single moment. Disoriented, the Corsair stumbled just long enough. Jack disarmed him with a flick, kicking the mask free. Beneath, it was a face half familiar, a version of himself scarred by time and vengeance. Jack hesitated. The Corsair vanished in a blink of fractured seconds. Silence returned. Jack stood alone before the glowing Titapool, breathing hard, sword lowered. Now that, he said, was a proper identity crisis. The temple groaned as if waking from a 1,000-year dream. Cracks split across the marble floor, and golden light bled through the glyphs like veins lit from within. The Titapool, once calm, now churned violently, infinite reflections of Jack Sparrow spinning faster and faster, overlapping until they blurred into one. Jack stood at the edge, hourglass in hand, its final grain of blue sand hovering midair, refusing to fall. One last choice, one last second. Behind him, time fractured. The Chrono Corsair lingered like an echo, flickering in and out of existence. Broken timelines snapped back like rubber bands, erasing possibilities, sealing fates. Somewhere in all those collapsing futures, Jack had lost. But not in this one. End it, came a whisper, whether from the tide, the Corsair, or some echo of himself he didn't know. Jack looked at the hourglass, then at his reflection in the Titapool. Not a king, not a ghost, not a god. Just Jack. He gave a tired smile. Right then, with a small flourish and zero ceremony, he flipped the hourglass into the Titapool. The chamber erupted in light, no sound, just blinding brilliance and the feeling of being unwritten. For a heartbeat, there was only silence. No sea, no sky, no time. And then Jack gasped awake, blinking in the hot sun of Dead Man's Port. The crowd bustled. The dice game had yet to begin. The old woman sat across from him, grinning with all three of her teeth. The hourglass was gone. Time was whole. He looked at his hand, the faint shimmer of blue dust fading from his fingertips. No one else seemed to remember. He rose from the table, tossed her a coin, a real one this time, and walked toward the docks. The Black Pearl waited, swaying gently on a breeze that now felt refreshingly linear. As he climbed aboard, Gibbs looked up from a bottle. "Everything all right, Captain?" Jack adjusted his hat. "Better than all right. Feels like we're back on schedule." He paused at the helm, looked up at the sun, and gave a slow grin. "No more time games," he said. "Probably." And the Black Pearl sailed off into the present, for now.